Basically go on the record for something that's going to happen later in this year.
100% is going to happen.
And that is 100%. Why Trump is going to win the upcoming election. Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Doug Mo Knows. Very pleasured to have a special guest, Ali Chaos from Chaos Legion.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me, Doug. Cheers, mate.
We want to do a quick video today while he's up in town to basically go on the record for something that's going to happen later in this year.
100% is going to happen.
And that is 100%. Why Trump is going to win the upcoming election. This video is why Trump will win. So let's go. Yeah.
2020, Trump for president, 100%.
Yeah. And this is just us going on the record so that in December, after November 3rd, whenever the election is, we can do other videos, point back to this one.
So remember how we were right.
Yeah, we told you so. So, to start off, like before we get into Trump and what he's doing well or what he's not doing so well, because he's not perfect, but Joe Biden,
yeah,
fuck me.
I think before we look at Trump, exactly, we got to look at the opposition. What are they putting up against Trump? You know, and for what they're putting up against Trump, to me, is a sleazy old man that doesn't remember what he's got to do. To me, he's just he's a puppet of the deep state.
Exactly.
He's someone put there in place right now as a puppet, but he's not his own man. He's not a free will. And to be frank, apart from some of his little healthcare things, he's got no great.
He's got no policy positions,
no
and we'll get into this, but that is pretty much indicative of the whole other side.
Yeah.
Their policy position is everything Trump does is bad.
It's bad. That's exactly right.
They have nothing to stand on.
They've got no counter argument. They're not coming up with a counter argument. They're just saying Trump bad, orange man bad, orange man bad, orange man bad.
And just on that, like with Joe Biden and now his VP picked Kamala Harris.
Yep. So
in the Democratic debates, she had a good crack at him about some of the racist things he supported in the past. He's a Southern racist Democrat. And the Democrats are the party of racists. Like Republicans were the party that, passed civil rights reform. Yeah. They did all that stuff, and now somehow, they've twisted that narrative.
Well, the Democrats really rely on the racial vote. That's what they
pander. They do. They pander every 4 years. They promise, they tell you what you want to hear, and then you get nothing. And
that's it.
The same with Obama. It was all hope and change, and would have been great, and it's nothing against Obama for being black, but he
was a horrible president. He
was the fucking worst president ever when it comes to, if you look at foreign wars, foreign policy, domestic policy, what he did for like black inner city communities.
Well, you're saying, they're all saying Trump's bad. You got to remember, Trump's getting in right now and fixing everything that Obama stuffed up.
Yep.
So
and and Joe Biden, you can go on, but the guy, the scariest thing is, right, if enough people go out and they go, we hate Trump enough, we're going to vote for the opposition no matter who they are, who's pulling the strings? Because he doesn't know where he is half the time.
No.
He can't, he's doing interviews where he's got the answers and he's reading.
Sleepy Joe's tried to fight people at his own rallies.
Yeah.
He's horrible.
Challenge people to push up competitions, telling his supporters they're full of shit.
Calling gay ponies.
A few lion dog faced ponies. That's a good one. But, he's getting lost. You can say what you like about Trump. You don't have to agree with everything he says. But for a 70-something-year-old man, he's sharp. He is at least coherent with his thoughts. Yeah. And Joe Biden, you can get into the... It's
just odd to me at the end of the day that why the Democrats have even put Joe Biden up as a running man against Trump, who is such a strong Republican and so strong with his policies and his mindset and how sharp he is, as you said. And they picked possibly the worst.
Well, I think it's either one or two things. They're banking on the fact that there's enough hate out there for Trump that people will just vote for whoever they're
putting Biden there so they can control it.
He's got a bit of name recognition.
Yep.
And if he gets in, they can control him. The other thing is maybe they know they're fucked.
Maybe.
And they're not going to win, and they don't want to run a serious candidate this time. What do you think of that? Like they're...
Look, I think it's a possibility, but I think what they're pushing for is they're pushing for a change. If you saw what's trending on Twitter lately, it's hashtag burn it down.
Yeah.
And that's all the Democrats saying that if they replace that the justice that died, that Rescinda or whatever her name is, like a badge or someone. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that's the one. If they replace them, they're going to burn it down. You know, and it really comes to who's funding all these Black Lives Matter rights.
Yep.
And not only that, these Black Lives Matter rights in Portland, for instance, have been going on for over 100 days now.
Yep.
Over 3 months, and
Yep.
it's getting to the point where even old Democrats, democratically elected mayors that are Democrats, Democratic states, are actually now leaning towards Trump. If we look at the polls,
there's Democratic mayors, like councillors, members of Congress, I think one senator, are flipping to Republican.
Yep.
And these are guys that are in like plus 10, plus 13 Democratic seats. And they no longer, their party has left them to the point where like they might possibly lose because those seats are so safe Democrat, but they can no longer in their conscience run.
Well, Trump now has more of the black vote and the Hispanic vote than any other Republican president ever has.
Well, there's a poll that came out recently says Trump, it was either Hispanics or blacks, so don't get me wrong, but he had either 50 or 60% support amongst that community. Now, the saying's always been if a Republican got more than 20% of the black vote, a Democrat would never win again.
Yeah.
So if he's getting above 40% support, like that really says a lot. And the thing, so let's get into the next point, which was how the far left and all of this has helped Trump. It has pushed people towards Trump. This Black Lives Matter, these riots, all this shit. So
to me, it's been a deep state. You look at Hillary Clinton and that when they lost the last election, they were foul about it, but they did swear change. And when we look at it, you know, who's backing this Black Lives Matter? A lot of the Democrats. I can't remember our old mate's name, but there was someone brought up on MSNBC the other day. Some old fellow who he's spent billions of dollars and millions of dollars.
The mayor of New York.
Yeah, instilling senators and justices and that sort of stuff.
Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah, I think that could be him. Yeah, and not only that, you know, these people are getting locked up. What are the police going to do? These people that are rioting are getting locked up and getting released without charge, that sort of stuff. The arsonist, for example, got locked up just a few days ago on 5 arson charges. Less than 12 minutes after he was released, set more fires again. And you're looking at all this, and the Democrats are literally saying, so I don't know how it's not treason in America or how there's not a civil war just yet, because you have people on the streets literally saying, burn it down, they're against America, they want their country to go into basically anarchy.
Yeah. At the same time, as you have people marching in the streets in Hong Kong and other countries that would fucking die, would literally die for the freedoms that the United States
That's why it's the Democrats. It's the Democrats that are doing these riots.
The United States hasn't got it perfect, and I go over the Bill of Rights and their Constitution a lot, and they haven't got it perfect. They haven't executed it perfectly, but it's one of the most perfect ideas that a country's ever been set up on, and I'll leave it at that.
But you know what it is now? The Democrats know they can't win the election, and because they know they can't win the election, they're going to go for a forcible removal of the government by inciting civil unrest and creating civil war. That's how they're going to play it. They're not trying to play it any other way. They're not trying to play clean. They're going for a sweep. They're trying to take them out.
The mail-in voting thing, I don't want to get into that because that's another rabbit hole, but there has been, and look this up elsewhere, but there's been war games that Democrats and we'll say deep state operatives within the CIA have played where if there's no clear winner on election night, they remove Trump forcibly from the White House. So we'll see how that goes, just with the support he's got amongst the Secret Service and the military community.
I can't see that working out too well for the Democrats.
I don't see that going well, but that has happened, and that's something they're talking about.
A lot of your police and army, no matter what country you're in, are right wing. Trump being right wing, I can't see him losing the support of his military.
It's not, and in America, there's a distinction to be made between right wing and liberty-minded people, right? The whole framework of that country is set out around liberty, and these people that sign up to be cops or join the army or whatever, what they're doing, they're signing up to put their life on the line to defend that liberty,
their constitutional rights,
and the rights that the Constitution and the flag and whatever the idea of America is supposed to represent. So it's not about like left and right wing. There are some, left wing people with more socialist ideas who still agree with freedom fundamentally.
Yeah.
And they're having a hard time. So let's get back to what the far left's doing.
Communists.
And Black Lives Matter.
Communists.
They're openly calling for a communist overthrow. They're going in, right, and I've done other videos on it. These black guys that are, get shot in the back or killed for no reason, go and really look into it. Like, there's...
If you're making a martyr out of someone who gets shot, half these people that get shot are criminals.
I'll just throw this over to you, if you don't mind me saying. You've had your odd run-in with the law, but...
We've had our disagreements.
you pick your battles, right?
Yeah.
If you keep your wits about you, if you're getting arrested, right, comply, have your day in court. You're not gonna, by acting like a fucking lunatic at the time.
It doesn't look when
you're going to bring about something bad happening.
When you're getting pinched, if you got a pinch, generally, being more stupid or getting more hostile and that, it never helps your situation ever. And especially, as these people are bringing out guns, reaching for weapons and that, how do you think it's going to end?
Yeah, this thing in
even in Australia right now, where there's a far lot less police shootings than there are in America, I still wouldn't risk it, and that's just common sense speaking. It's not because I like the cops or anything like that. It's self-preservation.
That's what I've said. Like, I tattoo on my arm, got the don't tread on my flag you see in all my videos. I'm all about personal freedoms and getting the state out of our life as much as possible. But these cops, you don't have to like them, but
to know what's going on.
Pick your battles. Yeah. You don't George Floyd was
a grub.
It was a crackhead. He wasn't a good person. Right?
He held up a pregnant woman.
He shouldn't have probably died the way he did.
No.
But then half the country didn't have to burn because of that. Then the other guy that's got shot in the back a few times, the cops have been called out to a domestic violence dispute, where his wife's threatened. I think, was taking the kids and had them locked in the car. They're following, trying to restrain him. Then he's got a knife in the car and he's gone reaching for it. And there's some videos you can watch on knife versus gun.
Yeah, anywhere within a 6 feet radius.
Yeah, if you
pretty hard pressed to get people knife.
It's not that simple as these cops are just shooting people for no reason. And like I said in my last video, there are examples of that happening to white people that never fucking get spoken about.
No.
And that doesn't matter. Because I don't care.
The biggest problem in the world right now is the racism, but it's not against the black community.
But even that, I don't think that's the biggest problem. It's that we're being played, and this is
they're trying to play both sides. It's playing off against each other.
It's a class war being disguised as a race war.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to pick two classes, which is what they always do in a communist revolution. They try and pick two classes and pit them against each other. Yep. And in this case, it's blacks and whites. And then just the last, that was what kicked off the shit in Wisconsin. That guy gets shot in the back.
Yeah.
And basically where it's moved to the suburbs now, but how I want to talk about how this has helped Trump and how helped Trump with the black voters, right? These guys, they started by going into inner city communities full of black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And torching them, burning them down, fucking destroying the lives of black families.
Thousands of people.
And
not just black and whites, thousands of people. They destroyed the lives of thousands of people.
Thousands of people.
But what really gets me is you can't claim that you want democratic freedom from a repressive regime and a tyrannical government when you're walking around the streets, burning villages and saying, if you don't agree with me, we will beat, kill, burn.
Yeah. And that's not... You've used the word anarchy before when describing this to me, and that's not true anarchy. So anarchists are more similar to...
People are out for themselves.
Libertarians. They want to, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone,
yeah.
and I don't want any rules.
Yeah.
That is oppression. That's
exactly
like
you're trying to replace
you're using
a democratically elected government with an oppressive regime.
It's either oppression or totalitarian, whatever you want to use it, or terrorism.
It is. It's domestic terrorism.
It's domestic terrorism. You're using the threat of force for a political gain.
Yep.
And that's like it's that simple.
And all the voters are going to start leaning, whether they're democratic or not, whether I was, where the people are sitting at home and you have no part in these riots. Yeah, sure, you may not agree with how these people have been killed or how the situation has been handled. But as you stated before, it's not enough reason to burn your entire country down. Yeah. And these people are sitting at home, these Democrats sitting at home, next thing their businesses are getting torched, they're getting jumped in the streets, they're not allowed to get to work. So of course, all these people who are Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and really trying to push for this ultra extreme left, who now is far more of a threat than any ultra nationalistic right wing group. Yeah. These guys have gone full circle. These left wing have gone full circle.
And they bring up Charlottesville all the time and all this shit, and like just because KKK members support Trump, right? That I can't choose like everyone that likes me.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure KKK were actually a democratic thing when they started.
Oh yeah, fucking oath. The Democrats started the KKK.
Exactly so.
But now people say, somewhat David Duke, I think, is the leader of the KKK, came out and supported Trump. Trump didn't go looking for his support.
Didn't re-endorse him back or anything like that either.
No, so like, just give me a break. Like that, it's a straw man argument.
Yeah.
And all of this started in the inner cities, burning down the neighbourhoods, the small businesses and that, and now it's moving to the suburbs. And you got these Democrats. So the difference between a Republican and a Democrat in America used to be both people that believed in the Bill of Rights, and they differed a little bit on social issues like healthcare and Medicare and social welfare, things like that. Now it's like this.
It's one that believes in the Bill of Rights and one that believes in communism.
Yeah, and there's all these classical Democrats that I'll say like JFK onwards Democrats that now they can't get behind.
They can't support their own democratic parties.
No, and that's why Trump's going to win.
Yep.
And now that they're moving out of the inner cities and they're turning up to people's houses, like any house that looks half nice, angry mob of 300 people turn up there and threaten to kill you. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, half of these people that they're turning up to, and it's never enough. You give these people an inch, they'll take a mile. You bend the knee, you kneel, you salute them, say Black Lives Matter, like
nothing's
just
enough
stop.
Because it's not what they want. You don't.
All lives matter should not be a controversial fucking thing to say.
But what the people don't understand as well is it's not that they want you to know Black Lives Matter. They don't want any of that. Their true purpose is a complete reform of the government.
Yeah,
their true purpose is to take over.
Yeah, it's a non-theistic religion. They want control of you.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you said Black Lives Matter and agreed.
It's not about that. They do not. And excuse me, like the language in this video, but these people, they don't give a flying fuck about black lives or what's good for black lives, or maybe they'd take 5 seconds and
Who do you think's funding this? It's the rich. The rich are only going to get richer.
They'd have a look at some of Trump's policies and what he's doing with opportunity zones and helping the black community. Just like educate yourself a little bit more before you jump behind these things. Post black squares on your social media and all of that. You shouldn't have to do that to show you're a good person. Like, I don't go out and like bash people or be rude to people just because of their skin color. That's the idea, and that was part of the founding documents of America was that all men and women created equal under God or whoever you want to believe in. They didn't get that right from the start, okay, but they abolished slavery. They've taken big steps, and really there's not many other countries in the world where you can move to and maybe as first generation and set up a life for your family and second generation with the sort of opportunities that you have there.
Yeah.
And they're trying to like tear that all down because they, I don't know, for want of a better word, they don't know how good they got it.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's just get on to the next point, because I think like all this far left activity, it's only going to help Trump win and drive more
votes,
more supporters towards
more Democratic
him,
votes towards the Republicans,
and people who don't necessarily like him because he's got a foul mouth. I love him because I think he's funny, and
he's a man of action. That's why I like him.
I'll listen more to the substance of what someone's saying and their policies than how they say it. Like, he doesn't speak politically. Obama was an excellent public speaker, but if you look at his policies and you know what he actually did, they were trash. Whereas Trump, you know, he doesn't get all his words right.
You know who else was a good public speaker? Hitler.
Yeah.
Hitler and Obama.
Might do another thing on that, but anyway, we'll try not to get banned just yet. We're only on 130 followers, so. But we'll leave that there. That's basically what this far left thing's doing. And I'll quickly make the point that in all these Democratic controlled cities, from day one, Trump has offered to help with National Guard, federal police, and these Democratic controlled mayors want to know better. They don't want to give him a win. Goes back to what we said, everything the orange man does is bad. So when he offers to help and come in and stop it, they go, no, we've got it. And then we've got to the point where there's like Portland and Chicago and the cities where you got a higher shooting rate than you did in Iraq and Afghanistan at the height of the war.
Height of the war, yeah.
Like it's like pretty out of control, and it's not going to drive people to the left wing. I can tell you that right now. We'll leave that there. Move on. The other thing, Trump is positive. Like, if you go watch CNN or MSNBC, you're going to get little like sound bites of things that he said. From day one, I've tried to make an effort to go and watch full speeches or parts of full speeches. Like, and he is a funny guy. He has policies that make sense, whether you agree with them or not. You know what they are. And he's got a positive message. Yeah. Like, he's got a positive message.
He's very uplifting for America.
Yeah.
You know? And when you look at everywhere else, they're very oppressive and depressing. That's all America's bad because the orange man's in charge.
Yeah.
But I completely agree. So
yeah.
I think that last point speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was a very positive president. He wants the best for his country.
Yeah. And he's also like, it's got really nothing to do with this, but he's also, I think he's taken a $1 a year wage since he got in.
Yeah, he doesn't take any money.
Donates to veterans causes and like
he's a great bloke,
each quarter he donates his wage to something else. He was a billionaire, which probably 90% of the country had a positive opinion on before he decided to run for president. So, you know, maybe he gets out of office and he's done a heap of great deals behind the scenes and got better off. But so far, it looks like he's lost billions. He's lost the support of half the country. But he looks to me like someone...
You know what he's done? He has made America great again.
Yeah, and he
has begun to make America great.
That's about it on that. Like, he's got a positive message, and at least he's got a message.
That's it. Yeah, Sleepy Joe's too busy sniffing girls' hair to get a message out.
Yeah, like it's unreal. Some like the creepy shit that Joe Biden's done. Some of the stories that have come out about Joe Biden that get buried in the media. If they were about Trump, you would hear nothing wall to wall for weeks about him.
Yep.
And yeah. That's about it. Like, all the other side have to offer is Trump is bad, and people are starting to see through it. I think they've had enough of it. And also, we're here in Australia, so it doesn't really matter at all what we think.
Yeah.
And when he goes to the UK, and you got Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, I think flies a baby Trump balloon, thinking they're making a message. He's not the president of the UK. He's the president of America.
Yeah.
Right? He's trying to do what's best for them. And in my opinion, in my humble opinion, what he's doing to do the best for America is actually the best for the world, or at least is
world security with China. Like, he's doing a great thing.
He's kept us out of wars that were, you know, pretty ready to pop, I think. When like Hillary and that taken over, like North Korea, and you know, I think nothing's perfect. Like the world's still a powder keg in a lot of places, but he's actually a lot more diplomatic than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
And he knows how to play a crowd. Like
he's a businessman.
Yeah, some people don't like his attitude, but he can come out and give funny speeches. I think when he's sitting down with the leader of China or Kim Jong-il is probably a different person, and people will tell you that about him. But yeah, at the end of the day, he has a positive message and a message that makes sense, and Biden has no message. Biden doesn't know where he is half the time. He's a creepy old man who has been in politics for nearly 50 years. Yeah. Right, if he had all the answers, maybe
he would have been in place already.
Maybe he should have fucking come up with some of them, or let Obama know about him when he was his vice president.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for having me on the show. Thanks for the speech.
Anything
no, mate,
you want to add?
No, mate, I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
I think the point's literally that last point spoke for itself.
Yeah, and I think we just want to go on the record. So
Trump's going to win.
Yeah, so we can point back to this in a few months and tell you so. Anyway.
All right, guys.
Maybe we were wrong, but we'll see. Till next time, stay safe, look after each other. Peace out. Cheers, mate.
See you, mate. Have a good one.